Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and big day for Johnny Depp. He's trending yet again. It's happening a lot, but I'm happy when he is, and he's trending pretty hugely today. So I'm so impressed with all the justice for Johnny Depp fans out there, putting his name worldwide. I thought, you know what? Perfect excuse to talk about some updates on the trial. I know we haven't covered a lot of them as in-depth. We sometimes do it throughout our live shows, but we are going to be gearing up to cover this in its glory because I'm sensing, I'm putting all the positive energy out in the world that Johnny is indeed going to win this. The truth will prevail. Karma is going to hit that turd harder than anything else ever, and I'm all here for it. So I hope you guys are well. I am prepping a video that I'll be hopefully releasing in about a week or two. I'm trying to do a more condensed sort of summary of things, like an unbiased look that really breaks down the case to hopefully open some eyes so you guys can understand why justice for Johnny is so important and why I believe it and so many others. It's not because we're just stans of Johnny Depp and his movies. Look, I like a lot of Johnny Depp movies, don't get me wrong. He's also made some stinkers. I'm not afraid to say it, but I respect the man tremendously, and what's happened to him isn't right. And so that's what this is about for me and so many others, and I want to make sure you guys are alerted and aware of what's going on. That said, we have a special guest here joining me for the beginning of the show. So happy to have her. We have Jax here. Are you there, Jax?
I am here.
Welcome to the show, Jax. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you? I'm
great. You can find her as the name's Q over on Twitter. She does a podcast called The Road to Fairfax with Laura. An amazing podcast to get a lot of info. Laura might be joining us. Your co-host Laura B, the real Laura B, may join us soon. But she was unavailable this moment because it was kind of last minute. But I appreciate you stepping in to help us update things. Because listen, I've been following a lot of stuff. I've seen things happening, but there's been a lot of movement on this case. We are gearing up for a trial in April, correct? That's the dates in April now?
April 11th. It's 6 weeks away, yeah.
So we'll be gearing up for this battle on April 11th. It's going to go for a while. I know Laura was concerned because there's sort of like a weird break in the middle right after the testimony. So there's some trepidation there, that hoping that the jurors will be able to remember everything they're hearing. I think it's a good thing. I think if Johnny's case sums up, they go on a break, that's going to sit in their minds, and they're going to get more and more angry, just like the rest of us have, I hope, at the turd. I hope that's a benefit for him, but we'll see. But that's going to be happening. So the trial's coming up. Right now, there's been a lot of depositions, right? They did depose Franco. Who have they given depositions with? Do we know for sure?
We actually don't know for sure. There are people that have been subpoenaed, like you say, Franco's been subpoenaed, but we don't know. The only time we really find out who's been subpoenaed is when there's a reference in another filing to someone's deposition. So, for example, recently in the new Warner Brothers filing, we got a reference to Amber Heard's deposition. So then we know, oh, Amber was deposed. Even though there are dates on the docket for when depositions are supposed to happen, we don't actually really know that they've happened. They can get pushed off to another time or not be done. So the only time we really know that they've been done is when there's a reference made.
Got it. And so there's a lot of speculation. People we know are probably gotten deposed, whether they've done it already or they're on the plan to before April. But lots of potential names. I mean, they were going after Elon Musk too, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. There have been several subpoenas for Elon. Again, we don't know. We just don't know. There's been no reference to a deposition from Elon or anything like that. So we just don't know.
Well, one hopes that we get all this information. I know a lot of them are trying to avoid it, including Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers has been in the news. We're going to get there. This fight with Warner Brothers basically trying to just ignore the subpoena, it seems. Oh, do we have Laura here? Oh, wait a second. She might have been able to sneak in.
Oh, she's coming. Yeah, she texted. Yep, she's coming.
Hold on. So happy to have them both. The co-host.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, are you there? We got both of them. So happy to have you. I don't think we've ever spoke in person. So pleasure to meet you officially, voice to voice.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here. So we're catching up. You guys are doing a podcast, The Road to Fairfax. You guys should go support it because they've been doing this. They've been even more in depth than I am, and I rely on them sometimes when I'm confused. Thank you guys for always accepting my DMs and trying to fill me in so I can get the right word out there. But I want to gear up to cover this properly as we get closer and closer to the dates. And so I thought, since he's trending worldwide, as he should, a lot of people are finally coming onto the side and realizing what's going on and how he's been wronged. I was hoping we could spend the next few minutes sort of updating myself and the audience of sort of the latest turns of events. So thank you both for being here. Laura and Jax, let's start here because I saw, where where did I lose it? It's
Well, just a quick heads up.
Go,
I'm here
yeah.
until the baby wakes up.
Okay, no worries. We will.
Fair enough.
We had I just had it on screen and now I've lost it again. Hold on.
We've had so many documents. I'm physically shaking trying to get them all out.
I know it's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, yesterday we were recording a podcast and the memorandum in support of summary judgment dropped. Like,
see, that's the problem.
A few days before that, like about 5 minutes after we finished recording, the Warner Brothers documents came through. So.
It was just like when I was doing Britney and there was a lot of that stuff. Sometimes if you're not really paying attention every second, you just get drowning in them and you're like, wait, and then you fall behind like I did. And I'm like, I got to finally up to date. So break me through the most important things. I wanted to start here though, because I mean, this is pretty true. Southern Girl T spew this. You understand this? Since throwing her legal hissy fit in August 2020, filing a $100 million counterclaim against Johnny Depp, Amber Heard has provided nothing to support her claim. Nearly 18 months later, she has provided nothing. Mr. Depp's fifth interrogations to Ms. Heard included the following: state all facts that support your contention that Mr. Depp is responsible for any damages you contend you have suffered as a result of the counterclaim states. To date, Ms. Heard's only response is to state that Ms. Heard will provide a substantive response. Well, so what's going on? There's like she's bringing in no evidence. I'll go to you, Laura. Yeah. What is this? What do we expect here? Is this a good sign for us?
Andy,
this is about the summary judgment.
Yeah, Andy, very important. Jackson and I are not lawyers. We have no legal expertise. These
Correct.
are strictly our opinions that we're giving you right now. The other thing I learned from this great other legal commentary YouTuber is all motions filed are allegations. They're not proved until they're proved in court. They're not judged on until the judge. So we're reading Johnny's motions, we're reading Amber's motions, and they're all claiming things.
Right.
As far as she has or hasn't not submitted anything or something, we do know that when Adam and Johnny were filing in Washington, D.C. courts regarding his subpoena, they did list out that she was filing a fraction of what he had filed. Or submitted. And I think he was 100 and multiple thousands, and she was maybe 14,000, or was it 40?
I think she was about 14,000 and Johnny somewhere around 44,000.
All right,
pages of document response.
Wow.
Specifically for Adam. I think that was because they were bringing it up for his motion.
Adam Waldman was Johnny's lawyer. Is he still Johnny's lawyer?
He's still Johnny's lawyer. Okay. He's just not on the case.
He's not on social media.
Specifically a counsel attached to this case.
Got it.
But the subpoena was specific to get information toward her counterclaim, because remember, she's blaming him for those 3 statements. So that's the documents I think they're referring, not the entire trial documents.
So, I mean, it's also fair in covering this fairly. She could be saving her responses for the trial itself. There would be no necessarily need for her to post this now, correct?
No, you have to tell the other side has to be aware of what your evidence is. You can't just come in.
So the fact is, anything that she's claiming, evidence, guests, witnesses, etc., it doesn't see. They're contending there really isn't anything yet that they're aware of, and we're almost a month away.
In American courts, there are not allowed to be any surprises. Everything has to be disclosed up front. Both of them have just filed their motions to compel with a laundry list, and that's typical. They're at the end. The trial's almost here. They've taken a look at everything they've gotten. They're like, wait a minute, did we get this from her? Wait a minute, did we get this from him? And they've both just submitted a laundry list of leftovers, like, you didn't send us this, and they're all compelling. So that's, nothing can be hidden or surprise at the trial.
Right. Except for Amber getting on the stand and
changing her story again.
Yeah, exactly. Waxing
is
about birds and raw meat.
Yeah.
Well, the other big news that I saw that really I thought was just important for us all to be aware is that you posted this from one of the documents you found. They will be allowing, I mean, basically it's going to be televised. There will be a one pool camera to broadcast the proceedings. No further details have been put out there yet, but yes, they have now admitted and they've now asked each party for their proposed restrictions. So again, I assume that's like what are we turning the camera off for when it's private moments? They sort of have to set that ahead of time so everything can be sort of organized. And so
we don't know exactly what this means. We don't know if it's going to be broadcast on like court TV or some local PBS station, or if it will be streamed. We've seen some other cases where courthouses have set up their own streams for certain trials. We don't know exactly what the details of this are yet. So,
but encouraging because as we've seen with Britney and so many others, the courtrooms are always sort of avoiding cameras at all costs. To see that they're allowing one is a good sign, right?
But
I think it's a good sign, yeah.
But up until now, the big difference is with Britney, they were hearings. It wasn't the trial yet, right?
Good point, yes.
Trials are supposed to be public. So when this happens, they can cut the feed, but I don't know that they'll clear the courtroom.
Right. They'll probably cut the feed for her confidential allegations, which we saw some mention of recently. That was what she used to try and get the camera whole situation thrown out entirely. I know that that's what happened in the United Kingdom, where people were shuffled out of the courtroom and the press was cut off from their feed while she made the confidential allegations. Apparently, it did not last very long, 2 or 3 minutes, according to people who were there. And then they were allowed back into the courtroom. So we'll probably see something similar here.
It was either that or they were taken to a back room.
Yeah. I don't know if people will be shuffled out of court. I don't know what the rules on that are in the United States.
But either way,
it won't be broadcast.
Still a good sign that they're allowing a camera at all in the trial. Which
absolutely, 100%.
Gives us full transparency and can catch Amber and whatever she's sort of putting out there, which only
we hope we'll get the whole thing. You know, I'm just hoping that it's not just being recorded and then snippets are being broadcast later, taken out of context or chopped up to fit a certain narrative on the CBS Evening News. You know.
Yeah, well, it probably will be, but I actually don't think they'll empty the courtroom, Jax. I think the U.S. has very strict rules that, for example, I think they have to be under an age, you know.
Yes, I think so as well. Right. So but I just want to put all the options on the table.
Some kind of confidential or sexual allegation, I don't think they clear the room. That's part of the trial. The jury gets to hear it, and, you know, as long as they're
the jury, absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll just have to see. I'm just not clear, and I want to make sure all the options are on the table just for whatever happens, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, so a lot of good signs coming. I mean, I know you were worried, Laura, sort of the timing of the dates. There's a break in between, but even as we were talking, I don't know, it could be a positive for all we know. There's still obviously a lot of questions still that need to be figured out, but I guess I want to go to each of you. Like, what is the other most telling thing that you've seen develop over the past couple months, you know, weeks, months, and that's encouraging for Johnny? Jax, what about, is there something, or Laura, go ahead.
How about in the last 2 minutes? He subpoenaed Samantha Spector.
Exactly. In the last 2 minutes, Amber's divorce lawyer has been subpoenaed to give a deposition. Amber immediately jumps in, wanting the whole entire testimony to be placed under seal, and they want to stop discovery until the protective order is ruled on. Just in the last 10 minutes.
That just so is this on your feed yet?
Yes, it's up.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, let me.
Because the problem is that there are texts between Amber and Johnny and other people saying the lawyers are making me do all this. The lawyers are making me make these claims. Blah blah blah. So now there's a direct contention versus the lawyers are making you make domestic violence claims, and you went to the United Kingdom and spewed a bunch of domestic violence allegations that make no sense.
She also claimed that her lawyer instructed her not to make a police report.
Correct.
Wow. This is get this Samantha Spector?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So this is their.
Here's what.
So explain that for people, because again, some of my audience aren't as up to date. So what does this mean? How does this help Team Johnny?
Go ahead, Laura.
So I have to back up a little bit. When they were pursuing the ACLU documents, she said that her lawyer, Eric George, at the time, was the one who was helping her with all this, and so she basically claimed what they call defense of counsel, which means she waives privilege from her lawyer for a narrow scope, specifically about this ACLU. So Johnny's team was able,
just sorry to interrupt, but for clarity, because for people who aren't even aware, Amber Heard said she donated this money to charity, to Children's Hospital of LA, ACLU. It was $7 million, and Johnny was going to just do it automatically, make sure they got paid. Amber insisted, no, I don't want him to get any tax benefits or anything. I want the money, I will do it. She had the money. She had it for a good year before anything was sued. She was sued, all the lawsuits happened, had all the money, full money in hand, didn't give it to the charity. A year later, well, I can't give it to the charity because I was being sued by Johnny. Meanwhile, she was in the press multiple times taking advantage of saying, oh, yes, I gave $7 million to charity, which now
she made declarative statements saying she had donated the money.
And it was all lie. We've now proven she did not give the money away.
She did not give the money away.
Yep.
It's a huge piece of the puzzle for Depp and a lot of people who I think who have turned sides and been like, yikes, this doesn't look good for Amber. And she's done everything in her power to try and avoid that or keep lying about it, but it's finally come forward. But that's what we're talking about with the ACLA. Sorry, continue, Laura.
No. So they got permission to depose Eric George because she made these statements that, well, he did this. It's called defensive counsel. So an interesting has happened. We know she was just deposed in January. We know that just happened. Yep. And here we are, them all filing to block Samantha Spector's subpoena. Well, these don't happen overnight. She was supposed to, I think, give her deposition February 28th. She's filed to stay that date until they can work out a protective order or seal it. Nobody's opposing her deposition. As far as I can see, they are opposing that it has to be private. So she must have said something like blaming Samantha for something, which opens the doors for them to say, well, you're claiming another defensive counsel. We get to ask her. That's
likely the same thing that happened with Warner Brothers, because we've seen now Team Depp come out swinging at a few people following Amber's deposition.
Yeah, right. And they even quote that in the Warner Brothers one saying, look, we were trying to work with you to do a declaration, to do something minor, but she's said stuff in the deposition that's completely changed our position. And the Virginia judge probably won't accept the type of declaration they want to give.
Correct.
So yeah, it's all.
And so, sorry, so Samantha is who again?
Amber's divorce attorney.
Got it. And
from
so
2016.
The speculation here, the divorce attorney, she's blaming the divorce attorney for something, which is now prompting the team Johnny to be like, well, now we got to go depose and understand what she's hiding for us.
Amber has previously said that the divorce attorneys made her claim domestic violence so that she didn't have to leave the penthouses. And also, she has said that her divorce attorney told her not to file for a police report the night that the police were called to the apartment when she claimed she had the phone thrown at her. So probably multiple avenues are being explored there.
Yeah, because she also instructed her and her friends to write down some contemporaneous
statements.
I know, statements about that. But what happened was she's gone on texting to everybody May 21st into the wee hours. Filing restraining order Monday, divorce goes in effect. Finally, she said this all May 21st and 22nd. And what happened?
Amber's parents text Johnny saying the lawyers are making her do it. She doesn't want to leave the penthouses. Johnny tells her she doesn't have to leave the penthouses. Even after the allegations have been flung, Johnny's telling her she doesn't have to leave the penthouses.
But back up. Before she files the restraining order, she files the demand lawyer from
Correct.
Spector.
The extortion letter came from Samantha
what happened
Spector.
to I'm filing a restraining order in 24 hours to, I'm fear for my life, but I'm going to wait a week before I send this demand letter.
Exactly.
Right. There was an extortion letter where basically they were just sort of like putting out there to sign the documents to get paid or else is really what it's sort of read as.
Oh, no. They wanted three.
Agree to all this or else. Give me the condos, give me the car, give me the Range Rover, pay for all the utilities in the condos, give me $50,000 a month until the end of time in spousal support or else. And
I'm terrified of him.
Correct.
Andy, have you ever heard of a divorce where someone says, yeah, I want the primary residence? Well, okay, that's normal. Well, I want the secondary residence that I'm going to use for my closet in my office.
Right.
No, well, I want the third residence, multi-million-dollar condo, because I want my friends to live in there.
Jesus Christ.
And she asked for 3 out of 5 condos, right? So Johnny would have still owned 2 of them. So you're okay with Johnny still owning the other 2 condos on the same floor?
Did Samantha write the letter?
Yes.
It's signed by her.
Okay, got it. And so, but can this is now we're in more legal questions. I don't know if you know the answers. Maybe you do. But like, if they subpoena the lawyer, isn't that protected? Aren't there going to be things that she can't reveal?
We just went through this with Adam Waldman. But yeah, go ahead, Laura.
No, we went through it with Eric George. It's the same thing that when she claimed what they call defensive lawyer, I did this because my lawyer told me. She's saying, it's not my fault about the op-ed. My lawyer told me that he did everything he could to make it an okay and it couldn't be defamatory. My lawyer instructed me. My lawyer said it was okay. That opened her up to this defensive lawyer where they were able to ask Eric George questions at a deposition. Right. We can only speculate that in the end of this discovery period, they've now subpoenaed her divorce attorney. We can only speculate in her deposition. She must have put some blame on Spector saying, I did what she told me to do. I didn't know it was wrong.
Right. So there's some question that because the question comes up now in the court, they are allowed to ask the lawyer those specific things to sort of verify your client saying you told me, is this accurate?
Yeah.
It's blaming her client that she wasn't wrong in doing something. She acted on advice.
And now they'll have to either tell the truth or perjure themselves.
Right.
Well, you're looking at a catch-22 either way, because you're looking at messages that say, my lawyer told me to claim this so I could keep my penthouses, versus now I'm actually making 42 new claims. You understand?
The biggest thing that I think we're all waiting for, right, is just like who's going to turn on her, right? Because it seems like there's a lot of friends and people who have seemingly done that already, but sort of as all this progresses, whether it's James Franco, whoever it is, do you suspect we may be in for some surprises on the way of Team Johnny or somebody getting there, or would we know that by now?
Well, we don't know anything about that. We'll have to see. I'm sure you should make mention of Kathleen Zellner joining Johnny's defense team.
Yep.
Because that is a major shoe to drop. That lady does not play. Be very interested to see her cross-examination. I would definitely assume she's going to cross-examine Amber. I don't know if she'll do the other witnesses. She's very thorough, and I would expect her to completely dismantle this.
Well, Franco's
whether somebody turns or not, I would expect people to be completely dismantled on the stand.
Go ahead, Laura.
Andy, have you covered Franco?
Well, we've talked. We know he was with her allegedly, right?
In the elevator footage.
Recent lawsuits and settlements, and have you covered any of that?
No,
I didn't think so. Okay, so he was being accused by many women for sexual assault. There was lawsuits.
Yeah, sorry. We went up through his interview. We know of his history. Yes.
So he is now on the road of redemption.
Correct.
So here's my question. Is this man going to say, oh, yeah, I saw bruises? And how is he going to explain, like, when this woman was being dragged through the public, why did you keep quiet? Why didn't you admit to this then? Why are you waiting now? Well, now he has to be kind to women. So is he going to come out with truth that's truth? Or in the moment, he doesn't want to go against women? Because if he sides with Johnny, there's that and his redemption road. So he's really stuck. I mean, he's going to have to explain, if he thinks he saw root bruises, why did he keep quiet for 5 years?
I suspect he's going to play middle of the road and sort of just play dumb. Is what
he's going to say, crying in her face. Red.
Yeah, or he's just going to be like, I don't remember, or I don't recall seeing that. Right? There's a lot of half answers. He could probably be educated. His lawyers could sort of advise him to say. I don't remember. It was a while ago. I've been through a lot of trauma recently. I don't actually remember. Maybe I did. Like, there's ways for him to sort of play the middle if he really chooses to. And honestly, given what's going through, I would not be surprised if he did that. Although if he really wants the redemption arc, I think telling the truth, James, if you're watching, that is the gonna get it to him. Like he's got to stop lying, because he's been lying a lot, I think, in his life as he's sort of even revealed. And telling the truth would actually help. But again, what is the truth? He was in that elevator when the bruises should have been there, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, and her lawyers tried to say that he lived in the building, and was just hopping the elevator with her, which is not possible because the elevator was private, only went to Johnny's floor.
They did a movie together, right? They were totally, they were hooking up, it seems. Yeah. But that's speculative. But they're trying to deny that wasn't happening. But when that was during the relationship, in theory, she was sleeping around on Johnny, if that's true, correct?
Yes.
If it's true.
If it's true. So Franco's probably not the one. Are there any other witnesses or guests that we think could be surprises here?
Well, I think the medical staff. We didn't hear from the medical staff in the UK.
Right.
And if she's been injured with broken noses, bruised ribs, all these injuries she's claimed, hair pulled out. This is an actress. Did she go to a doctor? We saw her just a couple weeks, photos of her in the Bahamas on a tubing out on the ocean with supposed broken nose and bruised ribs with not a mark on her. So where's the medical?
And wasn't there someone who said the makeup, wasn't there a makeup artist who did admit to adding some makeup? Or am I remembering that improperly?
She's claiming she covered it up for the James Corden show.
That's what it was. So, but then did she swear?
She walked it.
Did she see the bruising?
She walked it way back. Yeah. During her testimony in the United Kingdom, she said she covered some, dark circles under Amber's eyes for her appearance on the James Corden show.
But never then mentioned the bruising or anything else.
No.
Yeah.
Darkness and things like that. She really
Vagueness.
was trying to. Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting, some other people had picked it up. Those pictures around December 15th timeframe, her makeup artist made a big deal how she absolutely had to use this certain red lipstick in order to cover up this cut on her lip.
Split lip. She claims that she has a split lip, and she's on James Corden with her mouth wide open, like you see her in every picture.
But in a lot of the pictures, it's not red lipstick, and there's no lip injury. So,
correct.
What's the deal?
I'm just open.
This video is going to examine the alleged busted lip, the alleged busted nose, and the alleged two. Going to examine the alleged busted.
Yeah, I mean,
lip, the alleged busted nose, and the alleged two black eyes.
We're talking about she's alleging two black eyes, a broken nose, a split open lip. I think there was an allegation of some kind of strangulation, bruised ribs, hair torn out of her head. This is hours later, literally hours later.
Yeah.
It's very, very frustrating. Why would she even do an interview hours later after such trauma? You know what I mean?
You wouldn't. You'd be in the hospital.
Exactly, or you just wouldn't be, even if you weren't in the hospital, whatever. But I'm just trying to like give some sanity to her. Like, all right, fine, you're abused. Why would you still want to go talk to James Corden? Why wouldn't you reschedule your appearance?
No, you would be in no emotional state to do that.
Correct.
There's another picture right before you go on stage where I guess there's a camera that the celebrities talk to or pose for, and she has her mouth open as like she's screaming. You couldn't stretch your lips like that with that kind of an injury.
Go back to the Google search, Andy, and hit images. I'm sure it'll pop right up.
Yeah, Amber Heard Corden images.
You want the comparison? Which one do you want here?
No, go down. Should be. I mean, and I'm surprised it wasn't one of the first ones.
First one. It's her screaming with her mouth open into the camera.
Yeah. Well.
Figures when you needed to.
Maybe she's paid to get it lower on the ranking. You can't do that.
If you go on my Twitter, it should be in my my first pinned tweet.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, that looks.
That's to do with a split open lip.
Oh, frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Very frustrating.
So, all right. So there's a lot, and I'll go through some of these the greatest hits, if you will, of this case and why Amber has been lying. Going back to sort of as we wrap up, sort of the updates of recent. That's new news. I didn't know that they're going after the divorce attorney. That's fascinating. Is there any other sort of updates lately of the past few weeks that are worth bringing up, Laura? Anything you want to mention?
Well, they filed against. They're trying to get a subpoena from Warner Brothers. They've been doing this since early November. This is not new. They want documents and they want deposition. And the important thing about this is Johnny's claimed damages when he filed for loss of work. Amber Heard filed her counterclaim, Donnie, for twice as much, for $100 million, claiming her career was harmed. So he's like, great, prove it's harmed. You've got to give me the proof. So they're like, you've just been renewed for Aquaman 2. So how is it that you've lost money if you're still working in this franchise? So he's asking for documents, and Warner Brothers got nasty.
Right. They were basically like threatening, we will be nasty and saying mean things towards everyone if you pursue this road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And at this point, it's like Johnny's like, okay, yeah, been there, done that. It's all out there, Warner Brothers. Bring it on. Exactly. He's a man who's got nothing left to lose at this point. And so where do you think this is going to net out?
There's a hearing on Thursday, so.
With Warner Brothers.
With Warner Brothers.
Well, in California regarding Warner Brothers, yes, and apparently also regarding Samantha Spector.
Interesting. So in this case, Warner Brothers is just trying to avoid the subpoena. It does seem like they are acknowledging that there was drama with Amber, but it did have nothing to do with the case. They did.
Well, say, you're a movie guy. They said creative
differences. You're right. My speculation: she was out of shape. I really think that was part of the problem too. That's why she was.
No, I don't think so.
I think part of it. That was part of it because she did all that working out previously, and I think there was also just they didn't like her. I think it was a combination of everything, and maybe they were using that as sort of an excuse to try and figure out how to do it. But whatever the reason was, they said on record it had nothing to do with her lawsuit with Johnny, which is great news for Johnny because it proves she has not lost anything, correct?
Well, what they're saying is this is what was in Johnny's motion that they just filed. A deposition of WBEI, which is Warner Brothers, to explore those issues is manifestly appropriate, whether or not they were bringing her back. Yet bafflingly, I can't say it, WBEI has refused point blank to produce anyone for deposition on the apparent grounds that Ms. Heard's claims are bogus and that the WBEI should not have to be bothered with testifying about them. While Mr. Depp agrees that Ms. Heard's claims are bogus, one of the basic purposes of discovery is to develop evidence to refute and dispute Meredith's claims. WBEI is not immune from discovery and not entitled to simply ignore a subpoena.
Right, and then they're threatening bad things about if otherwise threatening to testify. But well, I guess this is the part this is interesting from Warner Brothers' letter on February 3rd. To avoid substantial burden, whose employees still whatever bullshit. Any delay in picking up Heard's option was due to creative issues in casting. Any delay picking up her option was not due to Heard's dispute with Depp or any other allegations in this lawsuit. We would not have paid her more money even if she had more time to negotiate. I mean, because they were sort of trying to say, like, look, we've already given you on a platter, Johnny. Leave us alone. Stop. I do see this as a pro for Johnny's camp because it goes against her whole claim that she's lost opportunities when Warner Brothers is admitting.
Well, you can also see the questions that they're asking.
We weren't. There were differences, Amber, but it had nothing to do with your lawsuits. So don't you dare try to claim that you're losing work because of that, which is what she's claiming, correct?
Right. My personal observation is I did not think they were bringing her back based on. Do you remember when Zack Snyder was able to bring back his Justice League and they were doing some reshoots?
Yep.
Amber herself posted that she couldn't fit in the outfit. She could barely move in it.
Right.
And it was pretty funny. And I'm like, well, if you know you're going to have to wear this costume, why are you not preparing for that? And she just gave me the impression that she said, this is a one-off. I'm just doing this and I'm done with it. I don't have to do this again. I really think she had the impression that she was not coming back as Mir. I mean, this is her big role. Why would she not want to?
Oh, I don't buy. I mean, I disagree. I mean, you are echoing what I think is she was out of shape, which again, Momoa, Heard, they both have to stay in shape. It goes both ways. Not to shame men or women for not being in shape, but those roles require you to be in shape if you want to have those roles. It takes a lot. Eating chicken breasts and whatever protein diets, it's insane.
Yep.
But if you want to fit in the outfits, you got to be in the. You want the roles, you got to fit in the outfits, and she couldn't. And we watched her seemingly faking, I don't know, but she was working out consistently trying to get in there. And I do suspect Warner Brothers in their new agenda do not want to fire Amber Heard because she couldn't fit in the costume. That would not play well to their things. But it's a reality check of dude, be a professional and you know what the role entails. So I do think that it's something, but it's clear there were a lot of reasons, right? I've heard so many speculative things. I heard she wasn't going to be in it. I heard then her lawyers sort of forced her to be in it. Now, is this true or not? I don't know. But my point is hearing Warner Brothers admit in paper legally saying any issue had never had to do with Johnny or any allegations is a huge win for Johnny, correct?
That's a huge win. I believe, yeah, huge.
But all that, now Johnny's like, well, yeah, and they're trying to say like, you have enough here, but he's like, no, what's all this redacted shit? What are you hiding? We want to know.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff redacted that was apparently some kind of statement from Amber's deposition. There's a huge, like, 2-paragraph redaction that is made mention of that looks like it comes directly from Amber's deposition. So that's whatever she said.
Yeah. There's also a couple sections that are under seal, and Johnny did file a motion to let them stay redacted and under seal. So he's being respectful of Warner Brothers. He's trying to work with them. He's trying to work within the rules, work product.
So do you feel like he's just trying, look, you're going to get deposed. We want the information. It doesn't mean we can't be respectful and keep some things private, but we need to know what we need to know. And Warner Brothers kind of like, no, we're not doing it. And he's like, well, I don't care what you tell. You have to do it.
A non-lawyer speaking, we all know about attorney-client privilege. There's also company work product privilege. Their business, things like that can be privileged. You don't want Disney to know how much you're paying your actors. You don't want to, I don't know, any of the Lionsgate to know what your put in your contracts. You know,
right?
There is a certain work product privilege.
Yep.
No, it's true. There's definitely trade secrets and things that they could claim that they don't want to give away. No, you're not wrong, and it doesn't seem like he's trying to expose that. He just wants to understand who's telling who what.
Right.
He also
very
needs
specific.
He also needs to depose them. I mean, I guess he doesn't need to ask them. He knows why he lost his Fantastic Beasts role. That's also Warner Brothers. It does seem like there'd be plenty to ask regarding all of it. Warner Brothers is the last people to be able to say, we don't need to do anything. I mean, dude, you fired him. He should be suing Warner Brothers.
Both lawyers will be there. So I'm sure they're going to have their questions to try and get Warner Brothers to say nasty things about Johnny. You know, that's their right.
Right. And it'll be interesting if that actually matters at this point. It seems like Johnny's already had the worst said about him.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other, Jax, going to you, anything else from the recent weeks, just as we're wrapping up the updates, as we get ready to the road to Fairfax, to plug you guys and what you guys are doing? Anything else we should be alerted of as we get ready for this trial in April?
Nope, just everybody be ready for, volcano-like explosions when we get there. It's going to be a long trial. We're up to 6 weeks now, 4 weeks in the first chunk with a week off in the middle and 2 weeks on the back end. As for anything right now, please go support Johnny's film Minamata. Vote for it on the Oscar fan favorite on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's going for the next couple of days. And just support him and his friends and his people in any way that you can right now.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Copy and paste 20 separate tweets, not retweets, not comments and answers. They have to be separate tweets. And there's plenty on there that you can copy from.
Yeah.
I was trying to find them. There it is.
Yep, there you go.
So I was trying to find it. Yes, a good plug as well. Fan favorite. I think it's Cinderella is leading still, right? That's the last I heard.
That's the last I heard, but that was a little. I'm not sure how it stands right now.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
Order.
And I figured Spider-Man would actually win the fan vote, but no, it's Cinderella versus Army of the Dead and then Minamota. And out of those, absolutely Minamota should be winning. It'd be nice to get that little plug. So if you guys want to go support him, you can go hashtag. Here's the information. What you tweet, present your casting your vote. Tweet your favorite film with the hashtag OscarsFanFavorite, or by voting at OscarsFanFavorite.com. There's the information if you want to help support the movie.
Follow
go ahead.
Follow the Academy and make sure it's the English spelling. We saw a lot of foreign people, foreign language spelling favorite with the O-U-R. Make sure it's the English spelling.
Hashtag Minamota.
American
there you go.
Spelling.
I will go do that next. And then, look, I'm so glad to have you both on. I hope we can make this more reoccurring. Anything else you want to say or plug?
Just we're seeing a lot of dumps now, document dumps, and basically they're at the end of discovery, and they've gone through the filings and just saying, gee, what haven't we got? And they've dumped it all into these motion to compel. So it's a lot of just housekeeping, I think, is the best way to call it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff coming in, but that part of the reason I haven't covered is exactly it's a lot of info dumps of stuff that we'll see how it's all used, right? It's all this is all the data gathering where each side needs to get all their pieces in order to then prep for battle in come April. So yeah, there's just been a lot of information that's been coming and going. But good to learn. I didn't even realize. Of course, we won't even know a lot of the stuff until they sort of reveal it in future docs or in the trial.
The most important thing we want to know is the witness list, and from that we want to know who is just having their deposition that was videoed played to the jury, and who's actually going to give some live testimony. They did get permission to give live testimony from California. So that's going to be important to know. The next thing is what they call the limines, to find out what parts of depositions will be allowed in.
And what evidence overall.
And what evidence. Yeah, we want to know the evidence coming in.
When does that typically go in? Like we'll know that. Will they reveal that publicly before the trial?
Generally, the only thing they reveal is if someone is opposing parts of something, that's what we see. And that happened with some other trials. Like he said that this is deposition. It's irrelevant. I'm objected to it. I don't want the jury to hear that. And then the judge decides yes, no, or maybe. For one of Johnny's, against Rocky Brooks, for example, they wanted to bring in any allegations of drug use. They wanted to bring in any of his current or past lawsuits. And the judge said, no bueno. It prejudiced the jury. It doesn't come in. So that's the kind of stuff that can come out in limines.
Interesting. So lots in store as we go, and you guys will be. What do you do? Do you post weekly? Where do people find your show?
We post twice a week. You can find it. We have a Myths and Monsters. You can click on Laura's profile there. We have our own Twitter account for the podcast.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. There it is.
Yeah. And this is a podcast, not YouTube. You can download it and listen to it on the go. You can listen to it on your way to work. You can just delete it off your phone afterwards. But it's a mobile type situation versus, say, like YouTube.
There you go. I just sent out the link in the chat. If you guys are watching, you want to follow it, go. You can get their great updates. They're bogging down through all of it to bring it out to you. And both Jax and Laura are always out there spreading the most important information, all the information. So go follow them each on Twitter if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. Any final words?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Andy.
Of course.
On our Twitter, Myth and Monster podcast, we list all the documents that we talk about. So, we're not messing around. It's concrete evidence that we're posting. There's the link, and then we show, here's the document we talked about. Here's this document we talked about. So
I love this. I wanted nothing except
all this stuff.
All this stuff. I wanted
it's so
nothing.
Ridiculous.
And my attorney's fees.
And she's on video saying it. It's in one of the videos
where
she declares she made the donations to charity. She says, "I wanted nothing." Well, I don't think so.
My God.
Thanks.
Depressing. Well, I appreciate you guys, and we are going to keep spreading the word on this. Justice for Johnny is an important thing. That's why. Stay tuned. More coming forward, and we will absolutely be updating you guys as the trial goes. And if you want to get even more ingrained, follow the road to Fairfax with Movie, Myth, and Monsters over on the podcast. What is this? Buzzsprout.com. The link is there. And I'll put the link in the description as well. Always a pleasure to have you guys. You're welcome anytime. If you ever need me, obviously, reach out, let me know.